right, JHK here for the AllStar, and joining me right now is UFC welterweight Alex Morono. Alex, man, you're taking these fights, man, back to back to back, man. How are you feeling?
Good, good. I train not to prove to be the best in the world. I train because I enjoy it. Man, I get to hang out with my friends and get pushed. I always thought it was like the most like psychologically stimulating exercise I could do. So I'm always in shape. Every time people are asked, they're like, how's training camp going? I'm like, it's going good. I wish the fight was this weekend. I've been saying that for about a month and a half now. And the fight will be this weekend here in a couple weeks, so I can't complain.
For sure. And Texas, it seems like it's freeing up, and people are walking around with without masks and everything. You, as a gym owner, as a business owner, how has business been for you?
Uh, this has been the best year we've ever had, which is nice because we moved into a new facility, so all of our expenses were a bit higher. But I've been running a gym since the start of COVID, and I would get like on a monthly basis, a couple students would contact me like, hey, I'm not feeling 100%. I need to take my 2 weeks off or whatever, and I haven't had someone contact me in maybe like 3 or 4 months now. So I mean, things are going strong. Our capacity is effectively full at the gym. We haven't had any issues. It's been nice, almost like the old way of doing things.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I don't know if it's ever gonna go back to the old ways, but it's
Yeah.
great to hear that everything's going good with you and your business, man. Because I've heard a lot of you know bad stories, right, of business owners just they lose everything. They just cannot recover from it.
Going under. I know
Mhm.
it's tough, man. I'll be honest. My activity in the UFC in 2020 helped keep everything afloat pretty thoroughly,
Yeah. Now let's get
just
into your
financially.
yeah, financially definitely, and let's now turn the tables to your career. Last fight, unanimous decision win, David Zawada. What did you learn from that experience, though? I mean, it was a good performance, but there must have been some takeaways that you could go into back into the lab and fix.
Man, yeah, I can easily take fights on short notice. And man, so I found out that fight like 13 days out. But my boy Ricky Tercios was fighting in the Ultimate Fighter finale. So like I got word of the fight on the weekend, and then on Monday I had one day to train, and then I was in Vegas all that week. And then I came home, and then the next Tuesday I went to Vegas again. So I was pretty much in Vegas for the 2 weeks I had to train. Thankfully, a weight was low enough to make it pretty easily, and I was in good shape. I was a little conservative in that fight, but I'll tell you, man, and I say this a lot, unfortunately, but that man had a chin. If I learned anything in that fight, it's that Germans are well built. I mean, I hit that guy with some super shots, and it didn't even change the look on his face. But I was happy to take that fight. It was like a UK card. There were a lot of Europeans on that card, and I was talking to my striking coach Matt, and I was like, "Hey, man, you up for another trip to Vegas?" Because he was with me, the week before with Ricky, and I was like, my plan is to kind of go in under the radar, you know, do the fight, not really get touched, and then slip out of there. And dude, sure enough, the fight didn't get too much notoriety. I didn't really get hit in my face at all. I won. I got my win bonus. I got back home and went right back to work. It was nice. It was like a real plan coming together. It was actually kind of cool and funny how it all worked out.
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk about it. Like Cowboy, you go in there and you win in the first round, finish him, and then you go in there 3 rounds. But like you said, didn't take much damage, had a good performance. Do you feel a different kind of momentum right now compared to let's say the last time you had like two in a row, three in a row?
Yeah, I've just been really consistent with like the high level MMA training, with the guys at Fortis and everyone in Houston. And like out of camp, I do like 2 sessions a week where I'll do like 10 5-minute rounds of MMA, five fives with bigs, five fives with littles. The pacing's not crazy, like the power at least isn't crazy, but there's like a lot of wrestling, a lot of grappling, a lot of striking. I'm just training so much, like for the sole reason that I enjoy it, that I was happy to take these fights. And honestly, like this fight camp has been awesome, but it is certainly more stressful on the body. And I kind of missed the short notice fights. Like this one, thankfully, I did like 4 really hard weeks, but I was already in shape going into those 4 weeks. And so I just kind of cleaned my diet up more. I was going to Fortis even more than normal. And man, I'm in a really good state right now, really good position. Like physically, feel super healthy. I'm hoping to fight like every 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, and I think the days of fighters taking off like 1 or 2 months and then jumping into camp for a fight are over, right? You have to train all year round, or you're never gonna reach the highest of the highs.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. I run a gym, so I'm in there teaching class every day and grappling every day. Like I did my 10 rounds this morning, went home, took a nap, taught classes tonight. And I did like 45 minutes of live rolling, nogi style, just for fun with some of my higher belts. just to be active and have a good time. So it's always like that.
Yeah, definitely. And you mentioned interest in fighting Matt Brown next. Was that ever discussed with the UFC?
It wasn't, and he was one of many names. I said his name out of respect, mostly because I was, supposed to fight Diego Lima. He fought Diego Lima and beat him. So I was like, oh, the next step is to fight the guy who beat the guy I wanted to fight. And but no, man, I got a lot of love for Matt Brown. He's actually fighting on the same card I'm fighting on. It'll be cool to see he and Barberena fight. And no, man, I don't care. I was really surprised. My coach called me out of the blue, a month or two ago. And was like, hey, I got you a new fight. We're fighting Mickey Gall. And I was like, oh, no way. Cool. I've wanted that fight for a while. No particular reason. They offered me to fight Mickey Gall on a card in San Antonio back when James Vick fought Justin Gaethje. No, it was Dan Hooker. James Vick fought Dan Hooker in San Antonio. And they had offered me that fight on like 4 weeks' notice, and I was like so quick to accept, and I didn't hear anything back. So I don't know if they offered him the fight or he declined it. I don't know. I don't really care. But I was like, man, I would love to run that fight. And sure enough, it came back around, and I was happy to take it.
Does like the possibility of testing your ground game, showing your ground game in this fight, is it enticing for you?
I guess I plan on him trying to wrestle me. I hope he tries to kickbox, but I don't care, man. I got a legit 2nd-degree black belt in Jiu Jitsu. Dude, I do more grappling than anything else. The only reason I don't grapple much in my fights is because I don't want to. I would much rather stand and bang it out, but I do anticipate quite a bit of grappling. And I do enjoy long fight camps because I am on point right now and just having a good time and putting it on guys on the ground. I wouldn't mind getting a knockout if it's on the ground either, so that's on my list of things to do.
Yeah, when people watch your fights, I don't think they know that you have a black belt in jiu-jitsu because you're always striking with your opponents.
Yeah, I've actually been a black belt since before I was in the UFC. Been doing jiu-jitsu super consistently for like 15 years now. I have had a lot of really good like black belt mentors. There's a gym on the south side of Houston, Gracie Baja West Chase. And I've said this for years, they have like one of the best competition jiu-jitsu teams ever. Before I started to go to Fortis regularly, I would go there all the time. And they have a guy named Pedro Mourinho. He just won Nogi Worlds in his weight class and the open weight class his first year as a black belt. And that just goes to show the level of the grapplers there. And man, Texas, Houston's got a really good jiu-jitsu scene. And I know I'm strong in that department. So I'm excited to grapple in this fight. I plan on it.
How would you rate Mickey Gall's grappling?
High. I mean, I'd consider him a grappler. He's got the 2nd most rear naked choke finishes in the UFC, I think. He's right behind Damian Maia, which is crazy. Like, Damian Maia's retired. If Mickey Gall keeps fighting, and not against me, but other guys gets rear naked chokes, man, he can actually get #1 ranked in that submission, which is crazy to think about because Damian Maia is such a beast. But no, man, he's a good grappler. I don't know, on a scale of 1 to 10 in the UFC, I don't even want to throw a number out. I'm gonna give him like 6 or a 7, I guess. But I mean, he's got some good grappling chops. I've talked with guys who train with him, and they've given me a little bit of a rundown on his strengths, which one of them is his strength. I know he's long and strangly. So I mean, I don't care. I've fought bigger dudes. I've fought better grapplers and beat them up.
His evolution is striking. It seems like it is getting better. It's not like one of the best in the division or anything, but he's working on it.
No, he's a big dude. He's dangerous. One thing you'll never, ever see me do is overlook guys. I do really like this matchup, especially compared to other guys around my same tenure. Like, I do feel there are some, like, way more dangerous guys out there. And not that Mickey Gall is not dangerous, but of, like, the killers, I think he's one of the less, like, offensive and aggressive ones. But he's technical, he's young, and he's growing, and he looked real sharp in his last fight. And I'm taking this fight serious. I mean, I don't overlook guys. It's not smart to do, and it's not something that I would do.
Yeah, and how have you been splitting your time at Fortis?
Honestly, it's a 2.5-hour drive, so I make the drive pretty regularly. Thankfully, my boy Jeff Neal's in fight camp too. He's fighting Santiago Ponzinibbio, and I actually got a pretty similar look to Santiago. So we've been getting a lot of rounds in. My boy Ramez is fighting Court McGee in January, and we know that's going to be a real grindy, grappling, heavy fight because that's what Court does. So he and I have been working our butts off. So, man, the quality of my training partners in Fortis has been so awesome. Carlos Diego Fierra's been there too. He's fighting the week after Jeff. So man, the level in the room has just been super high. And it's cool, I go there in the beginning of every week. I freaking do my super hard training, come home and rest for a day. And then the last half of the week when I'm back home, I go over my grappling exchanges and my striking exchanges with my coaches at home. We refine some stuff, make some corrections. I go back to Fortis, test my new metal, get my feedback from coach, and repeat that process for 5 and 6 weeks. And I love that system so much.
Phenomenal, man. And what type of battle are you expecting out of Gall?
I don't know. I always plan for a 3rd round finish because if we go past the first, it doesn't throw anything off. I say this, man, I hope he stands and bangs out with me. I expect him to wrestle and grapple. I'm ready for whatever. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't care. I'm just looking to do damage. I just want to see some blood in the octagon.
Yeah, you go in there, let's say, you take out Gall spectacularly. That makes it 3 in a row, man. 2022. What are your expectations?
Man, 3 more in a row. I don't really care about rankings. Honestly, there was somebody had released every fighter on the roster. And to my surprise, if I'm not mistaken, bantamweight had the most fighters. And then featherweight had the 2nd most fighters. And then the lightweights, and then the welterweights. And I thought the welterweights and lightweights had the most. There were like 70-something welterweights, and I read through the list, and I would fight any one of those guys. Give me a contender guy, give me a vet. I don't care. I'm looking to have some fun, scrap in the octagon. Most importantly, collect my win bonus. So I don't care.
Is it better to kind of sneak up on everybody with a 6-fight win streak? You know what I mean? Because we've seen guys do that. All of a sudden this guy's on a 7-fight win streak, and we're like, when did that happen? And then, they're fighting a top ranked guy. So is that kind of the way you kind of want to sneak in there into the top 10, top 15?
Hell yeah, man. Flying under the radar has always been kind of my personality. For whatever reason, I was always like a little paranoid. Like you can see, I don't post a lot online. I just don't like people knowing where I'm at or what I'm doing. For whatever reason, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm at the gym training most likely, or at home resting from training. But yeah, I mean, just kind of doing my job, showing up, taking short notice fights when they need me, fighting hard and getting paid is my goal, man. And I'm looking to go Jim Miller in the UFC. I want 40 fights. And I just want good longevity. Jim Miller hasn't even taken that much damage. I mean, that's kind of my goal.
Yeah, and he's still winning fights. It's incredible.
He's getting bonuses too,
yeah.
I know. Good for that man.
PTSD, PTSD from injuries, losses, tough fights. Does it exist amongst fighters?
The wrong fighter, yeah. I mean, dude, so we PTSD, that's a funny term for it. We call it shell shocked. At least at my gym, we call fighters getting shell shocked. Dude, the worst case ever to exist in the history of MMA is Ronda Rousey. After she fought Holly Holm, dude, she was shell-shocked, man. Like, her whole life changed. That's crazy. To be fair, we all played a little role in that because, the entire planet Earth was hyping her up something fierce. And, dude, when you have, an entire population telling you you're the best that's ever been, and then you go lose, there's some doubt there. But I've lost fights before. Like, I lost a fight in Houston in 30 seconds in front of everyone I know and loved. And it just pissed me off. I was so ready to go fight again. I think that really depends on the personality. If maybe you suffer a really nasty injury, that could be a different factor. But I absolutely believe that exists in the cage. But that's very subjective to the relative fighter's personality. Like, guys like myself, just kind of put your head down and grind things out. It doesn't now wouldn't affect me personally, but I've seen it affect some good guys.
Yeah, you're right. We were overhyping Ronda Rousey because remember we're talking about her fighting Mayweather. That was just
dude. I know we all and even I was like, oh, that's bullshit. But dude, everyone was like, I mean, and she was doing it too. But dude, when you have a gym of people telling you you're awesome, that's one thing. Dude, when you have the whole planet saying it. I mean, you got no choice but to believe it and live it every day. And then when it literally gets head kicked out of your psyche, man, that was crazy. And then when she fought Nunes, who ended up being the best fighter as a female ever, I mean, that's a good example of my hard shell shock, hard PTSD in the cage for sure.
Definitely. One last question, open-ended question. Outside of fighting, what keeps you up at night?
Shit, fighting. I mean, you're watching fights. I got an awesome family. I got a beautiful wife and two beautiful stepchildren, and training, and I play a lot of Warzone. I know Battlefield's going to release tomorrow, but dude, I'm a simple dude, man. I enjoy training. I enjoy watching the UFC, and then I'll game if I have some free time. But I mean, and I watch a lot of YouTube. That's kind of the new thing. We ditched cable a couple years ago, so I watch all sorts of like historical videos and top tens, and you can just learn. You can learn anything you want to learn on the internet. I think that's one of the coolest tools that these generations have these days.
Do you play online when you're gaming?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's all I do.
Do you have a tag
So
or anything that you go by?
yeah, I do for Warzone. It's Paul Dubs 420, but I got a buddy who plays as Vin D 69, so we got a funny Fast and Furious thing.
Okay.
just to be weird. But in Warzone, I got over 350 wins. I mean, I play the game quite a bit.
Right.
And I'm not bad at the first-person shooters. I love Battlefields. I've been my team's designated chopper pilot for like almost 2 decades since Battlefield 2. So I'm glad they have a new modern Battlefield so I can fly some choppers around. But I like to think of myself as a good strategist. So I'm excited to play some Battlefield again.
All right. Well, we get to see your strategy December 4th, UFC Fight Night Las Vegas. Thank you, Alex, for the time, man.
You got it, man. Thanks.